Good morning, hello everybody. It's 25th of June. It's 9:30 in the morning. Once again, I've got papers for you. I haven't got papers for you, I've got the spoken word, but I need the papers to reference and structure this. Apologies, I've been away for a while. I haven't replied to any of my YouTube comments since about the beginning of May. I've seen there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of notifications. You guys have got the links to get straight into Sovereigns, to go onto our web portal, and there's emails and phone numbers for you, so you can get to us. We can't necessarily get to you right now, but you have the links and the pathway to get to us. So I've been away looking at trusts, looking at Ecclesiastical, looking at Canon, looking at claiming allodial titles. I've also been looking at and joined the Ubuntu network movement. I think it's Michael Tellinger that has set this up from South Africa. An economy dealing when there is no money. Obviously you know about South Africa, the apartheid, the politics, the geopolitics, the finance, the IMF. Or you might not, you got to research it. But these people not always had a lot of money, so they get around in other ways. And they're getting around in other ways because Michael Tellinger's come up with this Ubuntu movement. I will just like to interject and say I will be referencing Jack Fresco Venus Project at every opportunity when Ubuntu's mentioned, because I believe Fresco did this in 78, 76 and mentioned it on the Larry King show. And other people have got on the same level of consciousness as Jack did with the Venus Project. So let's try and keep this to a minimum, short, concise, and I'll speak slowly. So we started this group, channel, network, as the information needs to be out there and we want to openly discuss it. We want to make it available. We are going to create indigenous wisdom keepers of the landmass England, and we're going to have a board of our own that hold this knowledge and have this information, and that will be passing it on from generation to generation and continuously evolving, amending it and improving it once we've outlined what we want to do. So you would like to claim your person, you would like to indemnify yourself from legal repercussion with regards to demands made upon your person. We can do that. Then you need to look at claiming titles, how you claim titles, what titles you want to claim and whom to serve. Once you've done all that, you then need to look at what we do at the end of it all. We know that this system's going to be coming to a close soon. We don't know whether that'll be in the form of nuclear fallout and wars, or whether that'll be in the form of military martial law, or whether the global economic, financial, fractal reserve banking system will just collapse overnight and we have bankruptcy. So we have made further plans, in addition to the lawful legal movements of statuses, estates, trusts, liability, indemnification, across all that. We are now looking at the future, because we want to give you something to contemplate when we tell you the end is nigh. There is going to be definitely an end of the financial, global, geopolitical system, and we're going to give you some alternatives for life, alternatives for existence, alternatives for man. Not for citizens, people, employees and whatnot. If you're happy being one of them, you can go and join the elite and the corporations and stick with your government. If you're not, then you're coming with us and you're going to contemplate doing a resource-based economy, Ubuntu, Venus style. So that's a brief summary and covers what I'm going to talk about in these scribbles here. So I've mentioned Michael Tellinger, I've mentioned the Ubuntu project, I've watched some videos, my man David's put me in there, you know who you are, DR, and also somebody came along, a new friend, Palmjit, somebody, and spoke to me on the Book of Faces, and had a chat and directed me to the network, of which I'm ecstatic to be in, to be part of, and we're going to promote, put this link as well as the Fresco link and other people's links onto our website. So we've explained where we started this movement, group channel, sovereigns, indigos, freeborns, lawful rebellion, all these kind of areas, as the info needs to be out there. When we was born, we was allegedly born free, but ask yourself, can we move around freely? Can we live where we choose to? We have to follow rules and laws that we did not agree to after birth. We have to work to pay taxes. The restrictions are endless. We did not agree to be given a number and to be treated like a corporation. No, I didn't. I didn't contract or sign. My parents may have unwittingly, but as we view it, we are infinite beings of flesh and blood, and the restrictions on us all get greater by the day. As they make new statutes, codes, legislation, things like this, they publish it weekly. I'd like to know where that is, and I'd like to see all the ones that are published. If anybody can get me the link to the .gov UK Corporation of United Kingdom, where they would publish all of these acts, statutes, legislations, revisions, amendments, revocations, things like that, because we don't understand it. We can't read through it all. There's a great many of them. These are things that we also need to be keeping on top of. So every socio-political system has failed us. You look back in history, 6,000 years we're going, since the Sumerian times. Man everywhere lives in misery. Show me a utopia on England or on the world, on the planet's surface, where people live in bliss, happiness, fairly, equally. There is no happy ending for the political, economical mess of the planet. Every year it gets worse. Every month it gets worse. There's more poverty, homelessness, hunger, and we see that global economic collapse is imminent. This is why we're talking about this. This is why we're here. This is why the groups are set up. We're not happy. There's a problem. If everything was okay, groups like ours and movements wouldn't be set up. It stands for itself. The fact is, we have a global economy. It shows you how powerful it is. They have infinite power as it is now, and only we can sort this out. So, you know how big they are. We're going to go into that in a bit later. We got to change everything about our present lives, and we got to live as men, as flesh and blood, not fictitious entities, corporations, trusts. 1/3 of the world's food is wasted. What we produce every year on a global scale, 1/3 is binned. We dump it, we destroy it. I mentioned about the monetary system in my previous posts and our previous posts in Sovereigns and on the channel. We don't give food away, we don't feed the homeless. We have got some schemes that are setting up with supermarkets that are eager to raise the brand name and to be seen to be charitable. Then that's great, but we're not doing enough. So, business, how did it all get so bad? Economy, politics, finance. A small group of, and this is again another massive post that I did when I was in Greece, when I was about 4 in the morning, about the Jesuits, the black nobility, the Phoenicians, the Vatican, the priests getting sacked, the cardinals going to Venice, and the Phoenicians going to Venice, and what happened then, and the outlay of all that in great detail. This is not the time, summarising. A small group of political families and banking elite families took control of the world. It started in with the Sumerians about 6,000 years ago in the Middle East of Sumeria. This is in our opinion, my opinion, I'll say. This channel's opinion. When kingdom was lowered to earth from heaven, they invented priest kings. I remember telling you in my, not invented, but they started to proclaim and have priest kings, kings of men, you know, gods of men as well also appeared, but that's another chapter. We can talk and get into, you know, who the first godlike people were to give themselves godlike status, and how that happened. They suddenly appeared and took control of the world as we know it, the priest kings. Then the priest kings, what did they do? Created a thing called money, and it was a tool of enslavement. Money did not evolve from human nature, from barter and trade. It wasn't invented by us doing commerce to make things better. It was a form of enslavement, a tool to be used by the priest kings. It's not natural evolution. We are feeling the enslavement right now. You get locked up for not paying your local government tax. Big Barry comes knocking. You get your stuff stolen overnight, clamped, impounded. You get taken away, kidnapped. They call it arrest, but when it's not for a crime and it's for an offence and you don't consent, and we class it as kidnap. We are feeling the enslavement now more than ever. Food banks, APR, interest, bedroom tax, everything that's going off, the way that you are statutory mandated. The law is, the codes and the statutes and the legislation are mandated upon your person as you are that person by default. This is where we are breaking it open and managing to gain Stability. Times 3 main banking families. If you don't know them, Rothschild, Rockefeller, JP Morgan, they own all the banks. As these 3 banks bail out all the others, when any of the other banks go into trouble, they bail them out. All the banks in the world, the World Bank, the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland. Money does not exist. Money is an instrument. We've mentioned this in my previous videos again. I'm summarising because I've got a target to get to. I've got an objective here. We've mentioned about the bills of exchange, the bill of sale, the bill of rights, and the Declaration of Independence, all those kind of things we can link you to. We've also got the friends in Lawful Rebellion, Practical Lawful Dissent, and Connor Wilkinson, the guys in there. They will also help you to get towards the constitutional side of things, and they do it a bit more in depth, so it's good to be linked with these boys. Our agendas are slightly different. We don't quite see eye to eye on everything, but we are aware of the invocation of Article 61. We are aware barons are returning oaths. We are aware that you don't need to send an oath to a baron to invoke Article 61. Again, on the meeting on the 29th that we're going to have in July, we will go through all of this. We will get a definitive process and what's actually genuine bona fide information, guaranteed to have a successful application in its process. We're streamlining, we're continuously evolving, hence my lack of interaction, presence in the group, or comments on the channel. So it's not enough hours in the day. I'm due in as a corporate slave to serve servitude in 1 hour and 45 minutes for 8 hours. So it's just trying to do as much as we can as a collective and putting people in the correct places. A lot of work going off in the background, a lot of splinter groups going off doing separate projects and feeding back to the main hub. What you see on the feed of Sovereign Paralegals on the YouTube channel and our Twitter is not always a true reflection of what may be going off. So when it looks quiet, don't ever think we're quiet, because we're not. This is 24/7, 365. We can help at the 29th about this area, yeah. Fractal reserve banking, the Bankruptcy Act, the Gulf Insolvency Act. Not one person has ever won a case against the banks in a court. That shows you how powerful they are, because they've made case law. Once they've made case law, it's game over for the rest going forward. So when they are looking like they're going to lose, they don't promote and have the case go forward for a judgment against the bank or the corporation or the dead entity. They abandon or withdraw, so there can be no judgment. So it's stricken off the record, because if there is a judgment, it's game over. We can also copy Ireland. This is another excellent thing that I'd forgotten about, that I read about. That once I read about it, I immediately forgot it. Iceland reserved all the mortgage repayments, loans and credit agreements in 2012, and this wasn't mass released on the media or mass produced in any articles, leaflets or infomercials or anything like that. It happened in 2012, and it was published, I believe, on a Spanish network called Telesur. These guys promoted it, publicised it, and that was the only time. And then it's been leaked out unofficially through Live Leak and WikiLeaks and other such reporting domains. The Anon network have also told me about it. 2012, Telesur network in Spain released information about Iceland's quantitative easing to the public from the government. Something to look at. It is possible, it can be done, again with the claiming of your titles and your statuses and the legal kung fu moves that we can do. These are all in the pipeline. These are things to be discussed, are being evaluated, and processes are being looked at and condensed, disregarded or improved. The education system, I mentioned about Darwin's theory of evolution being taught as fact in school when it's not. We don't understand the world around us, our makeup, our atomic structure. Our Earth hasn't even been fully discovered. The properties around it. There's such a thing as what Tesla did and has released. So the education system, it's got nothing to do with learning. It's all lies and deceit and indoctrination, and the development of it is funded by the banking families. And this is to condition humanity into following orders blindly. not thinking for yourself, repetition, the bell rings, get up, like in the army, as soon as the bell rings for a drill, they get up and they go. It's preparation for, you know, schools. I don't agree with them. Homeschooling, there's a lot to be said on that. Again, Venus Project, Ubuntu movement, humanistic ways. So Ubuntu and Venus Project, yeah, Ubuntu is African roots. It comes from age-old gospels and societies governing guidelines before there was so much law and rule of law as there is now. And the rule of Ubuntu process, ethos, mantra is, if it's not good for everyone, it's not good at all. So if everyone doesn't benefit from it, they don't implement it. Ancient cultures, they managed for thousands of years with no money. And they survived, you know, well. They lived well. They prospered. They had a lot of legacies left in their wake, all with no money. So ask yourself, they went around committing no harm, injury or loss, and they successfully lived for thousands of years and left legacies. So we're in a new age now. You've mentioned in the 2017 Wake Up video, Wake Up England 2017 court rules and templates that I've put on here, that's had, what, 3,500 views in 5 months, so it's proving popular. It's a 45-minute video which outlines my opinion and friends' opinion and the general consensus of paralegals' opinion on how one should present and conduct yourself for going for an offence and making a special appearance at the court. Video is doing well. There's a lot of shares on it. People are picking up because we've got a higher consciousness. We've moved out of the age of Pisces and we're going into Aquarius, the age of digital, technological evolution, expansion, raising of consciousness and new way of thinking. So, our government, we've realised it's not serving man. They serve themselves and the corporations. The lobbyists see to that by going down there and working on their behalf. They, for the corporations, fund the government. Man has been enslaved. The governments have stolen the country, the world, the resources from its people. United Kingdom Corporation, Britain, the British Corporation, all of the registered corporate entities they are on registered sites and securities of the exchange. They trade us as commodities. I've recently done a bit of a post about claiming of the titles, the allodial titles, controlling your legal person, moving your legal person and managing it in trusts. Yeah, trading us as commodities. I've entered my birth certificate, my person's birth certificate serial number onto a website that I posted in Sovereigns. I put each letter, then a gap and a letter, or you can put a letter and a dash. It will bring up what the liquidized entries are on the stock market, which is your legal name, your name that's capitalized, being managed and traded in book entries and on stock markets and being liquidized. Equity is being released, liquidation is happening. The government is possibly doing this, managing it through the Treasury and reporting it to our HMRC. I've looked at a few reports from Ken Dost and Bill Turner on YouTube, and a few internal chats about the tax shelters, the tax havens, how this would all work. Still in process. It's a massive mammoth job. So our laws seem to protect the corpses. They don't seem to protect the man, yes, or even the people, as you guys are, the people and the citizens. Let's have a quick swig. See our current posts and come and see us on the 29th about being traded as commodities. Birth certificate, the Sestu KV, how that comes in. Our laws protect the corporations. They do not protect the man. The corpses have more rights than the flesh and blood man. We need a whole new legal system. We need to kick the current system out, the political system, all of it. We need it written by man, and we need it to serve man. The CPS and the Crown are out of control. Everything in England belongs to the people or the men. The electricity, the water, the rail, the forestry, the gas, the telecoms, the road, the minerals, the municipal services were given to us way back in the 1930s under the Bankruptcy Act. So everything's for the corporations, and if you don't pay your local government issued tax, or you don't pay the corporation's demands upon the persons, what happens to you? You get locked up. Big Barry comes knocking again. You get your home taken off you. You get put into alternative accommodation. You lose your job. You turn to drink and drugs. You go to the doctor. He gives you pharmaceutical drugs. They have side effects on you. It's not good. It is not good what is happening. We have no structure. We have no control. We have no main central help for English Anglo womb men. It's all corporate. It's all contractual. It's not good. We've woke up. We need to get together. We need to join forces. Limited liability, kindness credits, we buy any debt, lawful rebellion, the benefits groups and caps that Tiffany runs on Facebook that we can link you to. We're getting there. We're using our pooled resources, and we are communicating using the network that we have put into place and that is currently being built and that is currently evolving. Municipal service given to us in the Bankruptcy Act, so everything is for the corpses. Pay up or be locked up. The inalienable rights of man have been stolen and given away. we should have all, and we do not need money. People do everything. We do the work. The money is an obstacle. The money is a framework, an instrumentation, negotiable instrument, promissory notes, promises to pay. Money is not money. It's not backed by gold. It's just worthless paper. It's an obstacle. It restricts access. It causes misery. The origins of money, the first forms of money, were clay tablets from ancient Sumeria, we believe. In my opinion, it points to work of Zachariah Sitchin's and many others. Fragmented information put together. Julius Caesar stood up for the people, and he coined and minted money for all. See our previous posts about this, the historical, pathways, network, evolution of the money, the finance, what Julius Caesar did. But then look what happened to him as well. The church law forbade the use of money, usury. They've mentioned about usury, the church in historical times. Jesus, when he was in the temple, he kicked out all the bankers, did he not? The stories of the scriptures. The banks are private. They're invested in stuff only for profit, not for goodwill, not for the environment, not for the children, not for the good of humanity. Private, profit, simple. Thomas Jefferson quote. Anybody know what he quoted about the banks? That would be an interesting thing. Go and put Thomas Jefferson in DuckDuckGo and put down bank finance quotes from Thomas Jefferson. What else? 22 minutes. We're going for 40 minutes. So your trusts are ecclesiastical. It's an ecclesiastical world. We've talked about this in the previous videos. We're not releasing anything process-wise until we get this. Bang on the money. This is something you get one shot at, one time. You know, it's something that needs to be done exact and precisely. If you go around messing around and trying to fire off, random shots in the air, you're gonna fall foul. This is for your estate, for your future, for your family, for the families, for the generations, and it's not something to be taken lightly. This is the final step in the evolution of the lawful movements of which we all need to consider or contemplate or be aware to make. It's a massive, massive journey. I've been in this for many years. My friends and allies that I found have been in it for longer than me. I'm not the most knowledgeable on this subject, but between us all, we are fragmenting and collecting all the bits up. We all have something to offer. We all have different views and opinions and experiences and references and case law. So you understand the ecclesiastical world and world of trust law. I mentioned in previous videos about trusts and Tony Blair being a trust lawyer before he went into 10 Downing Street, and what he did, how he escaped with what he did, the allegations and actions coming to get him to The Hague for war criminal, the money that he had invested in his private trusts and estate. Shows you, we know people that have used it and have used it effectively, and it's worked for. So, to have a valid trust and stand it up in law and to be recognised but not registered, we're still working on. So, I've mentioned in previous videos that you'll need a coat of arms, a family crest, you're going to need a seal, a stamp for the seal of the estate. You're going to need a few other seals, a privacy seal, a government exchange seal. You must have the estate logged in your book, your Manor Roll book, your under ecclesiastical law. See recent post last week, Dr. David, ecclesiastical deed poll. Yeah, I wrote down about the paper, the blue paper, egg robbing blue paper, and all the types of ink that you need to use, what type of paper that you need to, what colour, what type, what quality. When you autograph something, this is autograph because it's written out by hand. Yeah, when you print it and type it, it's not autograph. This paper is a military graded paper, the A4, A1, A5. There are certain sizes for certain documents. I know, I know. But this is the last leg of the journey. This is the last bit to be explored. Last bits of fragmented information, important information, things that, this is called dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So yeah, posting sovereigns about the paper, the quality, the size, the ink. You're making a contract. This is a contract, so you're drawing up a contract between us, the man, the flesh and the blood, and the creator, the divine creator. You're going to swear this and you're going to sign it. The ecclesiastical deed poll. So when you hear people mention EDP, that's what they're mentioning. I understand that there are a lot of abbreviations, and I am dyslexic, so it plays havoc with my mind as well, and sometimes I get mental blanks from it all, but we'll try and go slowly and explain it. You make your notes, get your pen and paper. Everybody's learning. You'd use this in court. You'd use it with judges. You'd use it at the Vatican. You may consider serving the Queen with this when you disrupt the monarchy by serving them notices. I mentioned this to a phone call I had with a gentleman in our group yesterday, one of my brothers and one of the admins from Sovereigns. You know who you are. I called you yesterday and we talked about this. When you serve the Queen and the monarchy, it's a dangerous game if you do it right, even if you do it, you know, bang on. If you annoy this establishment, they have the biggest resources and they have the power to do things legally and make your life hell. So this is, again, nobody's to do anything until you've had word from us or you've had it confirmed from someone who's expertly aware and makes you be aware of the legal and lawful implications of serving notices upon the state and the establishment, the monarchy, the Vatican, corporations, soulless entities, or any kind of legal commerce and dialogue that you may choose to have. So it's very, very serious. And if I've spoken to anybody in the last week, you know, it's 25th of June now, then I'd like to say thank you. I'm not going to publicly name you on here, but I've had probably 50 to 75 phone calls, private messages, video chats, Skype chats, WhatsApp chats. It is chicken oriental. I can't manage the group on just my own. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Apologies for the lack of input there. It is improving. We are getting bigger, better, faster, stronger. A little bit of Daft Punk reference there, but yeah, it's coming on. So thank you all for that. The team effort is brilliant. I'm seeping, but we're holding it together between us. If we carry on like this, it's going to be manageable. So using court, Vatican, Queen, you may send it to the Vatican. Now, when you use this document, your ecclesiastical deed poll, you'd attach what have I put here? Birth certificate, an official. You'd attach the certified copy of your birth certificate to the back of this. It's sealed to it. It's not stapled or anything. It's like it's one piece of paper, a two-sided bit of paper. One side, certified copy, birth certificate. Now again, I'm not sure about this. Just a standard birth certificate. See, this is why we do these. Or is it a birth certificate that's been apostilled in a non-Hague country and things like that? So yeah, this area is a bit grey. I'm still developing and learning that. With regards to the back of the EDP, Ecclesiastical Deed Poll, certified birth certificate being stuck to the back of it. So in your trust, you'd have your stamps. You've got your ecclesiastical deed poll. We've mentioned about, and Dean, you put me onto this, getting the coat of arms and embossed in the paper, making it 3D, turning it, what seals do is turn the 2D dimensional paperwork into 3D dimensional paperwork like we're 3D, so we can interact. It can interact with our world should we decide to recognise it and authorise it and give it jurisdiction, authority and life. Spell casting, things like that. Manor Roll book, yeah, that's important. Your inventory's in there. Do a notice. You do a notice. How do you do a notice? People are asking me, and public notices, and what notices have I done and how have I served them? It has to be for a period of time, of which I'm not sure. I've always done it for 30 days. It could be 4 weeks. It could be a month. I imagine it'd be for 30 days. That's what I've done it for. And I've done that, giving the corporations notice. You may have seen when you walk about, I've took photos and posted them in the group when the council, the local branch of the corporate government, want to do something, they'll put staple or tie up a public notice to lampposts, and they put the public notice up for the people to object to, lawfully object, legally object, oppose, petition, you know, all that stuff. 30 days to give the corporations time to rebut your notice or your claim of right, or your notice and public notices. They precede you before, show you before post. So they don't. Hang on, that's something else preceding you in court. They've made lots of notes. So notices, public notices, show before your post, shown before your posts. Yeah, I've shown you before in the post. The notice is on the posts. Yeah, so that's how we do the public notices, to give you an idea. Ecclesiastical deed poll. If you wrote that in black ink, for instance, what we posted about in Sovereigns, and the post for Mr. Baron that we got, not a real Baron, but Baron Monroe, the ink and the type of paper and the colour and why you write in what colour ink, and how you would select your paper and your ink so they didn't clash, and that colour of paper would be the chosen colour for your estates. You'd need to buy a shitload of it and keep it, and keep the same ink and make sure they don't clash. I'm not going to mention about the last will and testament, because I don't know enough on that. There's a guy called Steve, somebody that I've seen doing a talk in Nottingham. I need to have a link up with him at some point and catch up on what he's doing. Some people are asking me about, have I seen Steve? No, yes and no. I know Steve something, and he's been at Nottingham, probably connected to the Brother Ceylon and the Free Thinkers meeting and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at him. I'll subscribe to his channel, look at his work, share his links. Confirm, compare, see what's going off, seeing if we're on the same lines. If we yeah, what did I get told yesterday that was important on the phone call by the admin? Something else. I asked about the chief allodial titles and the petition of right, and the Lord Chief of Justice, the Queen, the Home Secretary, the PM, the Attorney General. I was talking about ecclesiastical and canon law, the deed poll. Would you serve it to the court, the clerk of justices of the court in their capacity as a trustee? I was looking at the 1666 and the 1707 Sestu KV. Talking about the paperwork precedes the man in a court. If it's wrong, then that's why it's game over. That's why some people don't seem to get. It's not that our processes or our notions of how the legal and lawful structure and system and application and protocol should work. It's that people don't wait, they don't validate, they don't source, they don't reference, they don't learn, they go straight in, they copy a template, they use black ink. See what I mean? We're finding out and fine-tuning stuff now. We've gone beyond the reasonable